Next on the agenda, we have House File 1183. Chair Stevenson, would you like to move and describe your bill?
Madam Chair, I will move File 1183 be recommended to be referred to the Committee on Health, Finance, and Policy.
Very good. Chair Stevenson moves that House File 1183 be recommended to be referred to the Committee on Health, Finance, and Policy. Please go ahead and describe your bill.
Well, thank you, Madam Chair, members of the committee. As we've heard already today, the high cost of prescription drugs is an incredible problem. You know, as a member of the legislature, you talk to a lot of people and you hear a lot of stories, but among the most memorable conversations are whether it happens when you're out door knocking or when you're talking to a constituent in your office, are those with the people who are struggling to afford the drugs they need to live. And I think all members here have had those conversations and they break your heart. No one should have to choose between paying the mortgage and paying for their children's medication. No one should have to pick between skipping a meal or skipping a pill. But we know that people in Minnesota are making those decisions every day. We all know the prescription drug market is complex. And while we all wish there was one silver bullet to solve the problem, this is more of a case where we need silver buckshot. This committee has already moved substantial legislation that, if it's enacted, would help. Representative Morrison's Pharma Accountability Board, as well as Representative Bierman and Representative Liebland's bills today, they're all good steps forward. And the bill I'm presenting today is another piece of the puzzle. It addresses situations where prescription drug prices are high, not because of the free market, not because of research and development costs, but because of greed. And we've all seen the stories in the news media about bad actors raising the price of life-saving drugs by shocking amounts overnight. When a pharmaceutical company does that, when they raise the price of a drug that's been on the market for years by 500%, it isn't because it suddenly became 500% more expensive to make the drug. It's because someone realized that the people who take the drug needed to live and would pay anything to get it. That's price gouging, it's wrong, and there should be consequences. Members know that I work as a prosecutor when the legislature is not in session, and I believe in accountability, and that's what this bill is about. We're not saying that all pharmaceutical companies are bad actors, far from it. You don't need to look far to see the good work out there that pharmaceutical companies are doing. They can work miracles. But this is a case where the Spider-Man rule comes into play. With great power comes great responsibility, and a handful of bad actors are abusing that power. One last note, this isn't the first time that this legislature has considered similar legislation. Indeed, a very similar bill passed the House last biennium. This bill is a little bit different in a material way. It applies only to generic or off-patent drugs, where last year's bill applied to all drugs. That change is due to a federal court decision. I think the decision is unfortunate. I'm hoping it's reviewed and reversed, but I think this narrow approach is the best one at present, given the current legal landscape. As I said before, this isn't a silver bullet. It's one piece of the puzzle. I know we have a couple of testifiers, Madam Chair, including the Attorney General.
Certainly. Thank you, Chair Stevenson. With the quick note that my 5-year-old would appreciate your Spider-Man reference, we can move to your testifiers. First up, we have Attorney General Keith Ellison.
Well, Madam Chair, thank you. And let me thank the ranking member and all members. I'm very thrilled to be here today to provide support for House File 1183, the Generic Drugs Price Gouging Bill. And I also want to thank you, Representative Stevenson, for bringing forward a bill to combat price gouging of essential medications that Minnesotans rely on to stay healthy and stay alive. The ability of Minnesotans to be able to just purchase the prescription drugs that they need when necessary to support their health and their well-being without fear of some financial ruin is just fundamental to their ability to afford their lives and live with dignity and respect. Yet skyrocketing prescription drug prices all too often threaten Minnesotans' lives and their pocketbooks. I don't have to tell you all about the story of Alex Smith. Many of you know his mother, Nicole Holt Smith. When he aged off the Affordable Care Act, he was on his own. He could not afford his insulin. He rationed it. He went into ketoacidosis and he died. He did not die from diabetes. He died because he couldn't afford his insulin, a drug that was made and sold to University of Toronto for $1 back in the 1930s, and really for years never cost more than $20 or so for a few vials, and then went up precipitously and has costed Minnesotans and others their lives. That's why I created a 15-member task force to study the ongoing problem in the prescription drug marketplace and to identify solutions that will help rein in the high cost of prescription drugs. The work of the task force culminated in an award-winning 94-page policy report, which I would like to put in the chat so you all can read it for yourselves. It's a great document. It was awarded the best government document report of 2020 for its category by state officials who look at these kinds of things. So I do urge you to read it. It's an excellent report. But let me also say, I want to go that the task force has 14 specific recommendations, and one of those recommendations is this bill, or a very close version of it, House File 1183, which would prohibit manufacturers from imposing excessive price increases on life-saving generic prescription drugs that they sell or cost to be sold in Minnesota. The bill reasonably provides that excessive price increases are those that exceed 15% of the wholesale acquisition cost of the drug over the preceding calendar year, and also exceed 40% of the wholesale acquisition cost of the drug over the preceding 3 years. Unfortunately, excessive price hikes and prescription drugs that far exceed the threshold set in House File 1183 are all too common and harm Minnesotans. Just to name a few of the recent examples, let me mention Daraprim. Daraprim is a very important drug. It treats HIV and toxoplasmosis. And you all know about Daraprim. Even if you don't know, you know about it, because infamously in 2015, Turing Pharmaceutical, run by Martin Shkreli, and you probably remember that name, raised the price of off-patent Daraprim, a life-saving drug, was used, like I said, for HIV patients and people with toxoplasmosis, from $13.50 to $750 per pill. That's a $5,000 increase overnight. That is not the market. That is not the cost of production. That is, I have a monopoly on this and I am going to make you pay for it, and you're going to pay for it because if you don't, you might just die. And that ain't right. I could also mention another example, which is a generic for the Prozac drug. This one is known as Fluzetine. And in the first quarter of 2019, its price jumped from $9 to $69, an increase of 667%. And then another example is Quanfacine. It's a generic for ADHD treatment. And this drug in the first quarter of 2019, its price jumped $29 to $87, a 204% increase. And then another version of a chemotherapy drug called Vidaza in the first quarter of 2019, its price jumped from $105 to $210, an increase of 100%. Not only does this bill prohibit these kind of excessive pricing practices in Minnesota, it adds a tool to the Attorney General's enforcement toolbox, and thereby allows our office to more effectively help Minnesotans afford the drugs that they rely on to survive. Again, these are not just any drugs, and they are generic drugs. We're not talking about brand drugs here. I think it's important to point out that this bill allows the Attorney General to be a more effective ally for consumers by providing the AGO with notice of and information about the excessive price increases, authorizes the Attorney General to investigate and bring enforcement actions to remedy unlawful price increases. Importantly, House File 1183 applies only to excessive drug prices imposed by manufacturers on prescription drugs sold, dispensed, or delivered to consumers within Minnesota. So Madam Chair, Representative Stevenson, members, please consider supporting the important measure protecting Minnesotans from price gouging of the medications that they need to live. I also want to just tell you before I conclude my comments that the Minnesota Attorney General's office is currently suing over 40 generic drug manufacturers right now for illegal price fixing. I wish I could share the complaint with you. We documented evidence where they just got together on the phone and said, you get this piece of the market, you get that piece of the market, you get that piece of the market. That's not illegal. That's not legal. That's called illegal price fixing. And we're taking them to court. This is in the generic area. So I just want you to know that we're not just proposing legislation. My office is actually bringing lawsuits against companies that are colluding to drive up prices in an illegal way. And I know there are other testifiers, so I'll yield right now and be happy to stand for any questions. Thank you all very much.
Thank you, Attorney General Ellison. Next, we have Dawn Bernfin with SEIU. Ms. Bernfin, are you with us? Please introduce yourself for the record.
Hi, I am Dawn Bernfin, and I live in Chisholm, and I am a home care worker and a parent, and I'm on the executive board of SEIU. And our union represents about 40,000 workers around the state, and on their behalf, I'm here to talk about our support for House File 1183. And my story about the high cost of drugs is my daughter's experience a couple years ago about not being able to afford her prescriptions. This was probably 2 or 3 years ago, and my daughter Emily, that spring, she started out not feeling so great, and when she called mom, of course, it sounded like she had maybe a UTI, but she also did not have health insurance, and she couldn't afford to visit a doctor, and she really became so sick that she could barely walk, and so she had to go to the ER. And they said with a couple of, prescriptions, she'd be okay. And so they gave her, first initial shot in the ER and sent her home with some scripts. And we went to the pharmacy, and the total amount of the prescriptions it would cost for her to get better was about $375, which, she didn't have. And mom did not have either. She was working at Dairy Queen, making about $12.50 an hour. And mom, as a healthcare worker, didn't make much more than that. We asked about the generic price, and I just remember that even the generic options were unaffordable. And, with that first dose in the ER, she felt a little better, went back to work, but without, the full dose and the full, run of the antibiotics and the other medicine, it wasn't quite enough to cure her. So she wound up getting sicker. And so, back to the ER she went, where they gave her another dose of medication in the ER and another script that she still couldn't afford to fill. And the cycle kept repeating itself because, still no insurance, still not enough money to pay for the medication. And we live in a small town up on the range. I live in Chisholm. She lives in Virginia. We have like a free clinic that's open like twice a week in the afternoons, which normally she worked. She couldn't afford to miss work because she'd lose her job. And there's one like 20 miles away that she could go to, but we don't have public transportation in the area that goes from town to town. There's really not even public transportation that's like goes like after 5 p.m. even. So it really didn't work. This went on for like almost a year. She could have, lost her job. She could have had, permanent damage to her body. She could have wound up, even dying or being unable to have children from that. And she really wound up thousands of dollars in debt from she wound up with one ambulance ride, several, trips to the ER, because she couldn't get a round of antibiotics and some other medications that she needed just to take care of this infection. And, it's just because she didn't have access to medication at a reasonable price. These weren't like orphan drugs. These were like antibiotics and, some other things that she needed, not opioids, not, anything like that, but things she needed to, like, at the end, basically save her life. She finally did get insurance, and she finally got everything taken care of. But I just want my government to stop companies from charging desperate people, as much as they can. Drug companies will not stop squeezing people like my daughter, this, 21-year-old kid, until, you guys give the government the power to stop them, and this is why I really urge you to support this bill, because now, she's in college. She's going to have a little bit of debt from that, but she's already in debt, thousands of dollars in medical bills because she couldn't afford some medication. So please support this bill.
Thank you, Mrs. Bernson, for offering your daughter's story and sharing that with us today. We have two public testifiers signed up. Mr. Fjellstad with Pharma, you're back with us. Please introduce yourself and proceed with your testimony.
Can you see me, Madam Chair, and hear me?
Yes, we can. Welcome back.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon. Again, my name is Peter Fjellstad, Senior Director of State Policy for Pharma, a trade association for 33 biopharmaceutical manufacturers that make brand name medications that save and improve lives every day. I'm here today to just express that Pharma does have concerns with House File 1183 because it attempts to implement a government price control. We also don't think that it takes the entire supply chain for medicines for patients into account, such as insurers and pharmacy benefit managers, otherwise known as PBMs, wholesalers, and government actors. We just want to reiterate that overall, prescription drug spending has increased at only 1.7% on brand name medicines in 2019, which is lower than the rate of inflation for the third year in a row. And just make sure that legislators understand that last year's prescription drug price transparency bill doesn't begin collecting information until October for a report due in January. Lastly, I'd just like to highlight the medication assistance tool, www.mat.org, for any patients having problems with affording their medicines, 950 programs from our brand name manufacturers. And in closing, Madam Chair, I'd just like to thank you and committee members for your time today. For all the reasons laid out, I just want to express that we had concerns with the bill, House File 1138. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Next, I have Brett Michelin with Accessible Meds on the list.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair and members. I'm Brett Michelin with the Association for Accessible Medicines. AAM represents the manufacturers of generic and biosimilar drugs. First, I'd like to start off, and we fully agree with the author's intent, which is to reduce the cost of drugs and the cost of healthcare in the United States and in Minnesota in particular. However, going after generic drugs we don't believe is the correct focus. In fact, 90% of all prescriptions filled in the United States are filled with generic drugs for only 20% of the revenue. Use of generic drugs saved Minnesota $4.5 billion in 2019 alone, and in the US, $313 billion. Biologics and specialty drugs, by contrast, were about 2% of all prescription drugs, yet they took 50% of the drug revenue. Use of biosimilars as it's growing holds great promise for reducing the cost of drugs also. estimates from IQVIA, one of the largest data organizations collecting this type of information, projects nearly $100 billion saved by use of biosimilars by 2024. IQVIA also found between 2014 and 2019, changes in the prices of generic drugs resulted in $7 billion of reduced revenue. On the other side of it, increases on the brand side resulted in $21 billion of increased revenue. Again, generic drugs are not driving the increases in the cost of drugs. AARP, in a study done by Dr. Stephen Schondelmeyer from Minnesota, found that generics decreased in price for 390 of the most commonly used drugs by seniors, reduced by 9.3%. The Kaiser Family Foundation, in their study of the healthcare spend, found that generic drugs are 3% of healthcare spending. Generic drugs are, in fact, the only depreciating cost in healthcare. This bill's focus on generic drugs is just not accurately going after what is driving the increase in costs. There's a couple of the other aspects of the bill that we're concerned with. Of course, the private right of action and requiring a registered agent and an office within the state could actually increase the cost of drugs. And again, we know that's going in the wrong direction from the intent of the author. Finally, there are some severe constitutional issues, and I know the author of the bill has mentioned that, but the state of Maryland passed this bill a couple of years ago, and it was found to be unconstitutional by the Fourth Circuit. Again, for these reasons, we are in opposition to this bill and urge you to vote no. I'm happy to take any questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Michelin. Now, members, I do see a few hands raised. Given that we've gone over on time, I think we're going to move right to the DE amendment and then take discussion and further testimony on Friday at our hearing. Chair Stevenson, you have an author's amendment labeled DE1. Would you like to move that and describe it now?
Yes, Madam Chair, I move the DE1. It gets the bill into the shape I'd like the committee to consider it and make some of the changes we've discussed through the hearing.
Very good. Members, any discussion to the DE1 amendment in order to get the bill into the shape that Chair Stevenson would like? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
All opposed? The motion prevails and the amendment is adopted. So Chair Stevenson, you also have an A1 technical amendment. Would you like to move that and describe it now?
I would move the A1 amendment. As you indicated, it's a technical amendment.
Members, any discussion to this A1 technical amendment? Hearing none. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Okay, that motion prevails and the amendment is adopted. Representative Lucero, you have an A2 amendment. Would you like to move that and describe it now, please?
So moved, Madam Chair.
All right, please go ahead and describe it.
Thank you. I actually had initially said at roll call that I was not Dick Tracy, but I'm actually going to put on my Dick Tracy super sleuth hat here because when I look at the bill, there are still some pretty terrible provisions in here that can be detected. And I draw members' attention to 4.13. A manufacturer of a generic or off-patent drug is prohibited from withdrawing that drug from sale or distribution within this state for the purpose of avoiding the prohibition on excessive price increases under section 62J.842. Madam Chair, it is clearly not constitutional for the government to require a private company to do business. There is no authority to say, hey, private company, you do business in our state. I compel you under force of law to do business. And for this, Madam Speaker, I believe that the bill author recognizes this. And so there's section 6, which says that this bill is severable if any of this is found to be illegal. And so clearly this is illegal, but I want to put this to the test. Let's put our money where our mouth is. And that's why I offer the amendment to the amendment that removes the severability clause from this bill. And I ask for a green vote, Madam Chair. Thank you.
Does the bill author have any comments to the A2 amendment?
Well, Madam Chair, Representative Lucero, I'm going to ask for a no vote. Unfortunately, it sounds like Dick Tracy got bamboozled in this particular one. First of all, it's not correct to say that there's no case in which the government can compel a company to offer service. I can give you an example right off the top of my head. Utilities are not permitted to withdraw service. They have an obligation to serve anyone who wants to purchase power or gas or water or any of those utility regulated functions. So just not true. The severability clause is pretty common in Minnesota law. In fact, the operating assumption is that Minnesota laws are severable, and if one portion is unconstitutional, the entire thing doesn't go. So I don't think it's the immense clue that Representative Lucero seems to think it is that unravels the whole mystery. And I just ask members to vote no and appreciate the conversation.
Thank you, Chair Stevenson. Members, any discussion to the A2 amendment? All right, seeing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
No.
Aye.
Aye.
And all opposed.
No.
No.
The motion does not prevail and the amendment is not adopted.
Can I have the end of us, Representative Davney?
My apologies, Madam Chair.
Not a problem. All right. Mr. Chair, would we like to move forward and lay the bill over till
Madam
Friday
Chair,
for further
so
discussion?
At this point, I would modify my motion. My motion had been to re-refer it to health. And for the moment, I'll just move that the bill be laid over. And for the committee's understanding, my expectation and intention is to bring this bill up again as soon as we have some extra time in the committee to have this discussion and a final vote now that we've gotten through the amendments and the testifiers.
Very good. Thank you, Mr. Chair. So Chair Stevenson amends his motion that House File 1183 as amended be laid over for further discussion and at an upcoming committee hearing. And with that, we will be adjourned. Thank you.